Hello everyone, you're watching Newegg TV. I'm Jennifer and I am here to give you an overview on the AX 1500i power supply from the titanium series from Corsair. Titanium, of course, is for the 80+ titanium rating that this power supply is rocking. This is one of their higher end ones, so it's going to be running 1500 watts of continuous power to your system. Let's get it out of the box. Alright, so I've kind of semi-unboxed it already to just spare you all the awkwardness of me trying to wrestle this beast out of the box. But as this is a high-end power supply, you're going to notice a lot of things a little bit different than some of the other power supplies. So first up, I want to mention that you get a warranty guide from Corsair. This is a 7-year warranty, and also you have lifetime customer service and support with that. You can go to Corsair.com to register your product, and also get the latest software on the Corsair Link, which I'll be going over with you in just a moment. You get this in-depth multilingual installation guide, and then all of the goodies. Corsair has included for me a little USB 3.0 flash drive because they're cool guys. I forgot to take this out before we got started, but this just has some specs and stuff on it. I'm going to set that aside and pretend it wasn't here. Next up, we have our super durable bag of cables. This is a fully modular power supply, so you get all of your cables separate, and I will take them out in a prettier shot in a moment, but look at that. It's a huge bag of cables, and we'll go through them in just a moment. Of course, you get your power cable. Set that there. Now, for the main event, there it is in its beautiful little velveteen baggie. Let me just clear the box off the table, and I can open it up for you. There we go. Check that out. All right, let's go through all the cables. Now, it's worth mentioning that this is not a power supply for a typical gaming build. This is for a massive, massive powerhouse of a machine, which is why it has the continuous 1500 watts of power at 94% running consistently. So, first up out of the bag, we have some zip ties and a case badge and some screws for installation and to help you manage all of these cables. I do have the installation guide out in front of me just to make sure that I am covering all of these cables correctly. So first up, we've got our 24-pin connector, blessedly just one of those. Then you have 2 CPU connectors. You get 3 in varying lengths, 6-pin to Molex connectors, for whatever you might need there. There's a couple different lengths available. You also get 2 different lengths of the SATA connectors, so you get them in 800 and 850 millimeters depending on what your system requirements are. You get a whole multitude of PCIe connectors for your GPUs, depending on whether you're running one that needs 2 8-pin or a 6-pin or an 8-pin, whatever combination. There's enough here so that you can actually be running multiple GPUs in whatever power configuration they might need. Corsair has thought of it all with this one. Also, you get 2 4-pin to Molex connectors, and then finally this little guy, which is actually a, well, it's a USB cable with a power connector on one end, and then over here you get kind of like this little mini Molex cable. And this is a 4-pin connector that's going to go in the back side of the power supply so that you can hook up your Corsair Link. Now, this is a special hardware and software combo that allows you to control your power supply and monitor it on your desktop. So why don't we get into looking at the power supply itself, and I can show you all of those features. Okay, so here it is, the power supply itself. Now on top, obviously, the first thing you're going to notice is this mid-mounted 140 millimeter fan. Now this is a fluid dynamic bearing fan and also includes the 0 RPM feature, which Corsair has attached to their Corsair Link. Now 0 RPM means that the fan is not going to run at below 30% load. So that's going to be ultra quiet for your system. And then also you can adjust the RPMs in the Corsair Link depending on how you want it to run or when you want it to kick on, or it'll just use its pre-programmed profile. Also, I want to mention while we're taking a look here that this does have all Japanese 105C rated capacitors, and it has over voltage, under voltage, overcurrent, and short circuit protection. So you have all of the safety features and standards there. turning it around now to the business end, here is your different plugs. This is a single rail power supply, but it is, you know, obviously running a pretty large configuration here. And why don't I turn it upside right, or right side up? There we go. All right, so over here, this is something you may not usually see on other power supplies. Actually, many of them will not have this. Now, this is a self-test button, which I think is fantastic. I think every power supply needs a self-test. That way you don't have to jumper the 24-pin connector to try to figure out if you have a good power supply or not. This will do it for you. Once it's plugged in, you can just push this in. It'll give you an LED indicator light showing you that it's a good power supply. Also, those funny cords I was talking about, that's where you're going to plug in this COM port. This is going to be your Corsair link to your motherboard and give you the desktop availability to monitor what's going on in your power supply unit. Now I'm going to rotate this baby over to its side and pull out a ruler. Now this is a standard ATX width, so you're going to get 150 millimeters here for mounting, but what you're going to be interested in is this length. It is a behemoth, so it's quite a bit longer than what you're typically used to in a power supply, and it is measuring in at 225 millimeters in length. So add probably about 10 to that to the front once you have the cables, so you're looking at needing about 235 millimeters available when you install this in your system. Now, Corsair is using these ultra flat, super flexible cables so that it doesn't protrude too much out of the end, but you should still be aware of the situation. Now I can move it around here to the back side, and we have some more ventilation grid here, as well as your power plug and your on and off switch below some silent operation notes that they've stuck on there, but there we go. All right, one last thing before we wrap it up. I just want to give you a quick glance at the maximum load chart. You can pause it here and have a gander at those numbers while you're assessing this power supply for your system. All right, well that wraps up this overview of the AX 1500i Titanium Series power supply from Corsair. Now if you liked this video or found it helpful, please like it and subscribe to our various YouTube channels. Until next time, I'm Jennifer, and thank you for watching Newegg TV.